Have you ever met someone who'd ruin a feast just to wear a crown they didn't earn? In the heart of Bayouville, a small Louisiana town where food was love and trust was sacred, Karen DuBois strutted into the annual Creole cook-off like she owned the bayou itself. She called herself a chef, flashing a resume as polished as her fake smile, claiming years in New Orleans bistro. The townsfolk, eager for a new face, welcomed her to the competition, where the coveted Jambalaya crown was up for grabs. But Karen had a plan not to cook, but to cheat. The cook-off was a tradition older than the moss-draped oaks lining the town square. Families gathered under string lights, their pots simmering with recipes passed down through generations. The air was thick with the scent of andouille sausage, bell peppers, and cayenne. Karen, however, wasn't there to honor tradition. She'd heard the winner's prizea feature in a regional food magazine, and a cash award could boost her side hustle selling overpriced meal kits online. To her, the townsfolk were just stepping stones. Her target? Lila Boudreau, a quiet, middle-aged single mother whose jambalaya had won 3 years running. Lila's secret? A slow-simmered roux and a pinch of her late grandmother's spice blend. A recipe she guarded like a family heirloom. Karen's scheme was simple but vicious. She'd registered as a contestant, but her jambalaya was a store-bought mix she'd doctored with cheap paprika. Her real move was sabotage. During the chaotic prep hour, when contestants dashed between tables for ingredients, Karen slipped over to Lila's station. With a sly glance, she dumped a cup of plain white rice into Lila's bubbling pot, stirring it in to dilute the rich, spicy flavors. She smirked, imagining Lila's face when the judges tasted her ruined dish. Karen didn't stop there. She swapped Lila's spice jar with salt, ensuring the dish would be a bland disaster. As she sauntered back to her station, she felt untouchable, her chef's apron a costume of credibility. But the bayou had eyes. Old Miss Clara, a retired schoolteacher who'd been judging the cook-off for decades, noticed Karen's lingering near Lila's pot. Clara didn't say a word, but her sharp eyes followed Karen's every move. She'd seen her type before, folks who thought they could outsmart a tight-knit community. Clara whispered to her grandson, Jamal, a high schooler helping with setup, to keep watch. Jamal, quick on his feet and sharper than a butcher's knife, had his own suspicions. He'd overheard Karen bragging about her foolproof plan to a friend on her phone earlier, though he hadn't caught the details. Now he was on high alert. As the judging hour approached, the tension was thicker than gumbo. Lila, unaware of the sabotage, stirred her pot with pride, her daughter, Sophie, cheering her on. The judges, Clara, the local mayor, and a guest chef from Baton Rouge made their rounds. Karen played her part, charming them with tales of her supposed culinary training, tossing around terms like mise en place and deglaze with rehearsed ease. When they reached Lila's station, the judges took a spoonful of her jambalaya. Their faces fell. The dish was watery, flavorless, a shadow of Lila's usual magic. Sophie's smile faded, and Lila's hands trembled as she apologized, confused and heartbroken. Karen, watching from her station, suppressed a grin. Then came a twist no one saw coming. Jamal, who'd been quietly snapping photos for the town's social media, had caught Karen's sabotage on his phone. The grainy video showed her dumping rice into Lila's pot, her smug expression clear as day. He showed it to Clara, who nodded grimly. Instead of calling Karen out immediately, Clara decided to let the cook-off play out. She wanted Karen to taste her own medicine literally. The judges moved to Karen's station, where her jambalaya awaited. They took a bite, and their polite smiles froze. The dish was a gritty, oversalted mess, barely edible. Karen's face flushed as she stammered about a last-minute recipe tweak. The judges moved on, unimpressed. The confrontation came at the awards ceremony, under the glow of the string lights. Clara took the microphone, her voice steady but fierce. She announced Lila as the winner. To the crowd's confusion, her dish had been a flop. Then Clara explained. She revealed Karen's sabotage, and Jamal projected his video onto a screen for all to see. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Karen's confident facade crumbled as faces turned to her, some angry, others disappointed. Lila, tears in her eyes, stepped forward. Instead of rage, she spoke with quiet strength. "Cooking is about heart, not tricks," she said. "You try to steal my joy, Karen, but you can't steal this community's spirit." Karen's downfall was swift. The crowd booed as she tried to defend herself, claiming it was just a prank. But the evidence was undeniable. The mayor disqualified her, and the guest chef, disgusted, offered to mentor Lila for the magazine feature instead. Karen was left with nothing but her flavorless rice, which Clara, in a moment of poetic justice, insisted she taste in front of everyone. Karen took a bite, her face contorting at the bland, salty mush. She said nothing, her silence louder than any excuse. The crowd watched, some whispering, others shaking their heads, as Karen slunk away into the night, her apron discarded by the road. The cook-off ended with a celebration, but it wasn't just about Lila's victory. It was about trust restored, about a community that stood together against deceit. Lila shared her grandmother's recipe with Sophie, passing the torch to the next generation. Jamal, hailed as the evening's hero, grinned as Clara ruffled his hair. The bayou sparkled under the stars, and the air was filled with laughter, music, and the aroma of real jambalaya, served from Lila's backup pot untouched by Karen's schemes. What would you do if someone tried to sabotage your hard work? Share your thoughts on trust, fairness, and standing up to deceit. Let's keep the conversation as vibrant as a Creole feast.